Oh, you came here to see me. You took time out your day to come hear more about this depression stuff. Alright, cool. Not gonna drag your day down. You probably had a long day. You know what I'm saying? Or you probably just starting your day. You probably didn't sleep good last night. Probably having a great day. I don't know. Whichever way it's going. Taking time out to be here with me. So before I get started, here's what I'm going to ask you to do. Smash that like button. And subscribe. What you doing? You still ain't subscribed yet. I'm kind of waiting for you to subscribe. You subscribe. I've loved. Subscribe. Thank you. Now to get on with today's vlog. Appreciate y'all for taking time out of your day to be here with me. And today's vlog we gonna talk about, as you saw the topic says, depression triggers and ways to cope with it. So as we all know, depression is like this dark fog that comes over you, and sometimes there's no triggers for it. Sometimes it comes on just out the blue. Sometimes there are triggers that cause it to come on. But essentially, depression is brought on by different life events. And with those life events, a lot of them, funny enough, from research, aren't even that bad. A lot of them are things that most general population would celebrate. But for some people, it doesn't really work out that way. It's really hard to explain. It's not that we aren't appreciative of whatever good experiences or good things that we go through in our lives. It's just sometimes there are things beyond our control that cause our reaction to be against the norm. And without, again, like I've said 1,000 times, and I'll probably keep saying throughout my entire time of doing vlogs here on YouTube, it's hard to understand, and you'll never truly understand until you have a personal experience with depression itself. You'll never truly understand the cause, the feel, the experience, the fight, the struggle, the pain. You'll never understand it until you go through it. Not saying that I want you to, but just saying that a real life experience dealing with depression is the only way to truly understand depression. And I thank God that I'm this strong. I thank God that I can be strong enough where I can make vlogs to try to help other people, because I know what it feels like. I'm dealing with it every day, battling with it, and doing very good, I would say, compared to what you're expected to go through or experience or be like when you're going through depression. And for me, I'm not gonna let depression win. And if I can help other people say the same thing too, then we're not gonna let depression win. I'm sorry, depression. Not here. Not today. Not ever. Alright, y'all. So to deep dive into this, before I get into it, let me just clear up something really quick. So I know I've said a lot, that to have a true experience with depression, you have to go through it. Now, let me clear up something. Obviously, psychologists and psychiatrists have a deep knowledge and a deep understanding of depression. But what I'm saying is you won't understand the experiences and truly how it feels, even with their research, without having a personal experience. You can have an understanding of it, but you won't truly grasp on a personal basis what it's like dealing with depression, what it's like to experience depression. Having the knowledge of it and having the experience of it, to me, are two different things. So, secondly, again, just like the previous vlog, this vlog I will be reading from my phone. So there are occasions that I will be looking down, will not be making eye contact. So I want to apologize beforehand so that way no one feels offended that I'm not looking at the camera making eye contact, which shouldn't even matter because technically none of y'all are here right now. And if anybody should pass my house, I probably sound crazy because I'm the only one in here. So, bear with me. So, like I've said before, depression can be a heavy fog that blankets you in sadness day after day. Or it can come in dark waves called episodes that wash over you and keep your head underwater for 2 weeks or more at a time. More than 16 million adults in the United States, or nearly 7% of the population, have had at least one episode of major depression. Even if you've dealt with depression before, a new episode can blindside you and leave you unsure of how to cope. Which is why I'm making this vlog today, because it's not like being a boxer and having the experience of fighting a particular boxer, so you know his weaknesses, or playing basketball, a team's weaknesses, their defensive strategies and their offensive strategies, so you know what to go after and how to go around those loopholes or whatnot. It's not the same. Every depressive episode is a different experience. It comes on in different ways. It mimics different things. It's totally different. So there's no way to be entirely prepared for it no matter what. But you can be prepared in the sense of having basic knowledge on how to deal with depressive episodes. And having that knowledge does help, because then when you know what are certain things that you can trying those things may lessen the emotions that you go through when you're dealing with a depressive episode, or it may be able to wash it away completely and have you feeling a lot better. So sharing this information is trying to pass on that knowledge in hopes that it can help someone who may be going through that, or who may experience it in the future, or who have already experienced it. Just being prepared, God forbid that another situation may arise and you may go through that depressive state, for you to be more prepared, because now you're better educated. It's combining two words together. That's what's happening. You're better educated, hence better prepared to deal with it, even if it does come and blindside you in some sense. So, spotting the symptoms of depressive episodes. Feeling down from time to time isn't necessarily a symptom of depression. What sets true depressive episodes apart is that you have symptoms like these during most of the day, almost every day, for at least 2 weeks. Again, it's having these symptoms, but on a regular basis for a long period of time. It's not just, okay, well, yesterday I had a bad day, today I have a bad day, I'm depressed. It's a little bit more in depth than that. It's having that for all of the day. It's not for an hour out of the day or for a few hours. It's for majority of the day, if not all of the day, and for 2 to 3 to 4 numerous amount of weeks beyond that. So that's the difference between just having a bad day or having a stressful moment versus having a depressive episode. These are the symptoms to watch for. sad mood, when you just feel down. You just not into really doing anything. You're not up. You're not cherry. You don't want to go out. You don't want to hang out. You don't want to play video games. You don't want to do anything. You're just down. Feeling of hopelessness, worthlessness, guilt, or emptiness. And obviously that's self-explanatory. It's just, you just don't feel like you're worth anything. Like you've feel like you've lost your value. You just feel like you've lost that value. There's nothing to fix it. There's nothing to make it better. It's just, it's just that feeling. It's like I say, it's kind of hard to explain it. But hopefully you get the gist of what I'm trying to say. Anxiety. Anxiety also is another thing. Just being really anxious about things, like really having a lot of anxiety towards any moment in a situation, and that also blindsides you as well, because sometimes you never know when your anxiety, most of the times you never know when your anxiety is coming on. It's there. Restlessness, anger or irritability, which you notice you snap on people a lot more than you normally do, which is one of the things that I noticed in myself. That kind of got me into researching and going to get myself checked out, and then realizing that that's what it was me really snapping on a lot of people more than I used to. Now I'm a little feisty, but those moments I was a little bit more feisty than normal, and normally I have a balance between when I need to be feisty and when I need to filter things out, and during those times I wasn't filtering anything. I was just straight to being snappy, and that's all it was. Loss of interest in activities that you once loved, like I mentioned before, when I mentioned the sad mood, which is normally when you really get to that point, is when you're in that mood, man. You just, like, you're down, you can't be bothered. Like, you only want to go to the park to play ball anymore. You don't want to hang out with friends. You don't want to do anything. A lot of people don't understand why you get to that point, why you want to be a homebody. But sometimes you're just not feeling the vibe anymore. You're just not, it's not like you truly don't like those things. It's just once the episode comes in, you don't like those things at that moment. You know what I'm saying? Lack of energy. If you just feel like you can't get nothing done. Like if you start exercising or you start moving around and doing things or trying to be active, and you realize that after like a few moments, you feel worn out, like you're done. That's it. That's obvious sign that you're losing that energy, and that's a part of depression, is losing your energy as well. Fatigue. Just same as being, just irritable, man. You fatigue. You restless. You annoyed easily. It's like being on your period, you know what I'm saying? All the time. It's typically what y'all men describe women as when they're on their period anyway, so y'all don't come for me. Trouble concentrating, remembering, or making decisions. It's hard to decide what you want to do, even what you want to eat, which is why a lot of times you don't eat, because it's too much to do. Don't have the energy for it. You can barely concentrate or think. And you get irritable, you get angry, and you just get to the point where you're like, I don't even want to eat no more. And you lose your appetite. Thoughts of death or suicide, which is not, for most people, or I would say everyone that go through depression, it's not a thing of, it's not a voluntary thing. There you go. That's the word I'm trying to find. It's not a voluntary thing. It's an involuntary thought process that kicks in, that gets you to think that being dead is better than going through your struggles. When, like I've said before in another vlog, that really being dead is just giving up and not giving yourself the chance to see what tomorrow brings. And just, if you automatically jump to the thought of, well, tomorrow's going to be just like today, then you've already let depression win. We've already given depression tomorrow. We've already given it ownership of tomorrow. So you have to bring that positive from now and say, you know what? Today was crap. Today was really bad. But tomorrow might be better. I'm going to look forward to what tomorrow brings. And now going in it with that negative mindset, because when you go in with that negative mindset, negative things will happen. I mean, if you think negative, it's what's going to be surrounded, around you. It's the negative. And going through depression is very hard to have positive thoughts, but you have to force yourself to try to think those thoughts, because it's a whole lot better for you. Sleeping too much or too little, which is weird, because most people would think with depression you probably wouldn't sleep at all. Like, the sleeping too little, probably most people would right off the bat agree with. But for me, when I heard sleeping too much, which was something I deal with, it was kind of weird, and that kind of triggered it for me, because that was something that I was debating with. Well, I don't sleep, and I don't lose sleep, I'm sleeping fine. I should sleep a lot more than I normally do. They're like, yep, that's part of it. And I'm like, what? And doing the research, you come to find out that sleeping too much is actually a symptom of depression. It's weird. It's just when you find yourself just sleeping for no reason, just normal times where you're normally up and active throughout the course of the day, you're sleeping. For me, I don't like the idea of women sleeping throughout the course of the day. I mean, unless you're doing a lot of stuff, you get tired, you take a quick nap, whatever. But if you're not doing anything, you're just home and you're just sleeping all day, I don't know about all that, but that's a whole nother story. Unexpected aches, like stomach aches, headaches, back aches, joint pain, stuff like that. That's also a sign, a symptom of depression as well, which I didn't really know. You get them random headaches, stuff like that, and you don't know why. You're not in the hot sun all day. You're not working outside in the hot sun. You're not stressing. You're not doing a lot of thinking at that moment. You've eaten. You haven't, stayed without food. It's just a weird moment where a headache just comes on, a tension headache or a migraine, which is normally what I experience, is either a tension headache or migraine, something where you get that pain in your neck that just goes up here, or you get that migraine where it just wraps around the crown of your head, and any motion, any light, any sound, just that was some of the stuff that I started pinpointing and realizing that those were the symptoms that contributed to having depression. If you have any of these symptoms for a prolonged period of time, and you have medical health care, you have access to a doctor or a psychologist or a psychiatrist, seek some medical attention if you can afford to. If not, talk to someone. Stay connected. Stay around people. Try to stay positive. Go to church. Just be a little selfish. Be a little bit about you. And it's okay if people get mad at you and say that you're being selfish, because right now, at this moment, you probably need to do that. Because right now you need you and more than anybody else right now. So you might have to be a little selfish, and it's quite fine if you choose to do that, because I guarantee it'll make you feel a lot better. So what triggers episodes of depression? Now, depression doesn't always need a trigger. Sadness arrives without any unpleasant event or warning. Yet certain situations are known to set off a negative mood. Common depression triggers include a major, and I'm sorry, I know I started laughing because this is the one that really just threw me for a curveball, and it when you really sit down and you think about it, and after I say it, I'll explain a little bit more. When you really sit down and think about it, it does make sense. But common depression triggers include a major life change, such as a move, graduation, or a new job. Now, if you think about moving, graduating, or even a new job. Now, if you're a loner, you live alone like I do, going to school is your way to connect to people, even if you don't have a actual conversation. Just being in a room and being around people makes you feel a little bit better. Graduating takes that away from you because now you can't go to classes anymore. You don't have that anymore. That is now taken away from you, and your routine now has to change. Same thing with moving. You're moving away from the norm. You're moving away from what you're used to. Routine and everything now has to change. Same thing with getting a new job. Routine has to change. You have to prove yourself. Your added pressure. Just change itself is. Some people aren't very good with change, and that's what triggers it. And like I said, for me, thinking about graduation or a new job or moving, that's almost always a positive. Except for the move can always be negative, but graduation is positive. Getting a new job is almost always positive. If it's the job you wanted, or if it's not because you lost a job and have to just hurry up and get a quick job, but nevertheless, it's still normally a good thing. Financial troubles, including bankruptcy or debt. Obviously, that would stress anybody out. That's kind of like a common sense thing. Relationship issues such as tension in the family, a breakup, a divorce, your own, or even a divorce of a close loved one. Sometimes the stress of others can be a burden to you. And that's why sometimes you have to be a little selfish and let people deal with their own, but also still being there and being supportive, but without finding a way to do it without letting it affect you that much where you and that person are equally suffering the same, because then that really helps nobody at the end of the day. Stress at work or home. Again, obvious. Major illness, death of a loved one, giving birth to a child, which obviously that is known as postpartum depression. So, most people know about it. We've heard cases of mothers who've killed their kids because of that. No justification there. This is where I end the conversation on that. Using alcohol or drugs. Some of these triggers are under your control, obviously. For example, you can avoid drinking alcohol or using drugs if they make your sadness worse. Others, like a chronic illness, are more difficult to avoid. When you can't avoid depression, your focus should turn to managing it. You may not be able to change your circumstances, but you can work with a psychologist, a counselor, or help yourself cope with these sadness. Treating depression episodes. When the depression arrives like an unwelcome visitor, you don't have to give up your quality of life. Medication, which for me is a no-no. Therapy and at-home coping techniques can all make symptoms more manageable. I will personally skip over the medication because I don't personally promote it. There are way too many side effects when it comes to these medications. If you choose to utilize medication in dealing with your depression, that's solely your choice. Nothing I will encourage or discourage. I just will not speak about it. If you want to do more research, there's a lot of sources out there that can provide different types of medication, what they deal with, how they affect you, symptoms, so on and so forth. For me personally, I don't deal with it. I don't believe in putting certain chemicals in your body. I don't believe in putting toxins and stuff like that in your body. A lot of these medications have a lot of side effects that I don't personally agree with. I won't name any names of any of them because they're all pretty much on the same level in my opinion. But again, if you choose to take medicine to help you, if it's really that bad and some people really do need it, then you will have to end it. There's, again, no opinions to where that is concerned. However, I am the CBT type of person, the at-home remedy, where doing research on my own, finding my own aids, things that I know that help me feel better. CBT, for those who don't know, that abbreviation is cognitive behavioral thinking, which is something you would do with a psychologist, why can I why can I not speak tonight? A psychiatrist are the therapists that deal with the medicine part of depression. Psychologists are the ones that deal with more of the CBT, which is changing your thinking. And we've all gone through different social media platforms, been around, you know, the water fountain talks, you know, friends, family, whatever whispers. We've all heard of the whole saying, you know, change your thinking, you change your life. It is true beyond true. You truly, if you change your way of thinking, your life is going to change with it. So if you change your thinking to positive, obviously your life is going to be changed to positive as well. So managing depression, along with medication and therapy, there are new lifestyle tips to help you cope with symptoms. For example, exercising. I know with depression, like I mentioned before, you do have a loss of energy. There's a lack of energy, but you have to fight through it. And trust me, I know it's hard. Sometimes you really have to drag yourself. It's the hardest thing to do, but you really have to drag yourself sometimes and say, you know what, you got to get up. You got to go. We have to do this. So that's something that is really big, because once you start moving around, then you start to trigger the chemical activities in your brain. It helps. Definitely try it. Riding a bike, swimming, playing basketball, soccer, whatever it is, just get up and move. Get enough sleep, but not too much sleep. Knowing the balance. We all know 8 hours is a healthy amount of hours of sleep. If you get an hour over that, obviously it's no biggie. If you get an hour less than that, pretty sure the world's not going to stop spinning. But you don't want to go too much under that, and you also don't want to go too much over that. You want to stay within that decent balance of either the 8 hours on point or an hour over, hour under, somewhere within that range, and you're good. Stay connected. Loneliness is the best friend of depression. It will drag you down. It makes your depression worse. So you want to stay away from being lonely, being by yourself. Stay connected with family and friends, loved ones, social media, by phone, physical, face-to-face, going out, hanging out. Just stay connected with people so that we're not dragged out into that lonely place, because once you get there, depression is going to have fun, and it's no fun for you. Eat well. Avoid sugars and carb-heavy foods. If you have not watched my vlog, I do have a vlog that speaks on the foods that correlate with depression, as well as foods that work against it. So you want to find out what foods boost it and what foods will, you know, kind of diminish the depression. So you want to try to stay away from the foods that will make your depression worse, like sugar and carbs, and you want to stay more towards the foods that help, like fruits and vegetables. So just try to stay within that. Alcohol as well. Alcohol does not help with the depression. It's okay if you have a glass of wine, you know, a shot of rum, tequila, whatever, but you don't want to indulge. You don't want to go out and just have a ball and just drink and go stupid crazy with it, because it's going to drag you into where the depression can take over and have power. So you want to be able to stay away from that. But again, guys, definitely feel free to comment below if you have something to say. Smash that like button, hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell so that we can stay in tune on when I drop videos on here. I appreciate y'all for watching. Appreciate y'all for taking time out of your day to be here to rock it with the kid. I know it was a longer vlog than I normally make, but I had to make your time worth it, right?